Oh my god, my girl, Alexis Rose is back. Or should I say Asuka? I'm not used to saying the Japanese names, right? When it comes back to this, like, you know, I grew up a lot with the original Yu-Gi-Oh series. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh will always remain like a big cherished thing in my heart, but also as well GX, I'm just so used to back in the day, and it being the first show I ever like watched really in like Japanese, or I believe it was the first show I ever watched in full raw, and also as well Japanese in general, because I was like I was too much into like GX, so it was like after that ending I needed to know, so I kept going, and just to see it like come back and all that, the nostalgia just rushing through me. Boy, it fills me with just a giant smile on my face. So before I can talk about all that good stuff I liked about the GX stuff, unfortunately we have to go back to my least favourite of all the DQs and go back to Zial. Although I do like the whole Zial, like, you know, dimensional, like with the XYZs. It was like, ah no, let me see more of Alexis, because I knew she was arriving in this week. So we get to see, like, you know, Yuya sitting down with Erifo and sitting down with, like, Kurosaki's friends, finds out that they're in this little hidey hole, you know, and they actually found this place out because of the actual woman and the little kid that from what they saw, like, they're rescued, and it was like, you shows us a nice way of dueling, and we kind of understood why Kaito had, you know, such a shitty, like, situation where he was like, no, fuck you, Yuya, I'm not going to believe any of this bullshit you're spewing on me. And it turns out the reason why for this in the matter in the first place is because his family got taken out by academia, and he will forever had this just monster grudge like between these guys. It's like, no, go fuck yourself, this is bullshit and all that. I'm never gonna forgive them for what they did. And interesting enough, we finally found out some stuff about Yuya's father as well, and turns out 3 years ago, he didn't chicken out, and like, you know, there was more to this man, and it turned out that what he actually did was that he went to the XYZ Dimension to teach them how to duel. So he taught them how to duel. I was thinking, like, so what, did dueling not really, like, did they not know how to duel during that time or something, or did it just, like, he just taught them to become better duelists, and he had, like, the U show, like, Dueling Academy. I'm like, oh shit, you know, like, that's what he had over there. So it's like, over all these years and all that, he's been actually training, and then they're like, no, he's an actual coward though because he left us. And I was like, well, from what it sounds like he maybe went to another dimension or something. So it's like not too much in the way of like Yuya in the gang, although it was like, I think the first 7 minutes were dedicated to him. It was like we just kind of got that confirmation about it, and it was like, yeah, everything got fucked up. We lost, like, you know, I think they're saying like the spade and the clover, and like, really? Like, are we really doing like this Black Clover, like naming our like parts of the area after, like, you know, like a deck of cards? I was like, alright, I give you that shit and all that, but it's even still that felt a little bit weird. And then we go back to Yuzu, who finds out all this time that she's in the fusion. I ain't gonna lie, the fusion dimension, like from what we saw of this so far, looks actually really nice. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a city or a town that belongs in a Tales of game. It looks like it belongs there, mixed in with some Italy gondolas and stuff. So I was like, okay, why does this place look actually very nice? And then it turns out once you're there a certain age, you go to the academia and they like ship you off and say, they're like, bye Sonny, hope you become a warrior and destroy everyone, yay. And I was like, wow. And turns out there are runaways from this academy, and everyone thinks that Yuzu's one because, like, at a certain age, and so the whole team's like, no, fuck you, you've got to go here. And that's where the committee people that I was confused on in the preview last week, I was like, who are these guys actually? Because they don't, like, they're not wearing academia like gear, so they're actually like a little bit different. And then where we see it as she's running and she's called it, Alexis just appears, and I'm like, oh, it's to finally see Alexis in HD. It's like, alright. I was seeing it, and a little bit of a change on her design actually, because if you remember originally, like, she used to have like the actual like jacket, she used to have it full attached. So I'd like to say, like, now that she's got it all out, I'd like to say that's a reference to maybe, like, I'd like to say Jaden, because she's wearing the same like sort of grey that he had underwood. So I would like to say that's the situation on that. Might be a little bit of a different like design thing, mix it up a little bit. And I think the jacket's slightly a little bit different on there. I know it's like pretty much the same color design and all that, and she looks more older actually, like, to be fair. Maybe that's just because, you know, it's been years since, you know, they've probably drawn this character and seen it, but like, especially it's like she just like looks really different, and she, like, I guess maybe the voice actress, I can't honestly, it's been so long since I've seen Japanese like GX, so I can honestly cannot say if that's the same voice actress. I wouldn't be surprised because like Kaito's the same guy, if I believe, so like it wouldn't be a surprise that they could easily get Kaito's voice actor to come back. But GX, you know, that's awesome actually. Like if you can get that situation, like you know, get them back and seeing the side, like we didn't see too much of the deck, and I noticed this, and it's something that's actually a little nitpick. Like I really don't like this. Like they've been doing a lot, which they're doing with a lot of these characters when they're going against like just scrubs and stuff like that. So we're each and every one of them are gonna have this deck, which you know they seem like they're dog themed for what they had. It's like, oh, I'm gonna summon my my dog here, and then it's like, oh, summon the bulldog, combine like the two together, and you get like this like 2000 attack point monster that like you get around the trap card. Like you send all your fusion cards and all that to like you know from your hand and all that, creates about 1,000. I'm like, alright, that's pretty solid. But then I thought it's just like polymerization. No, anything to do with fusion. So refusion, diffusion, like polymerization, like any of the fusion cards at all that you can do it is like 1,000. I'm like, alright, that's actually kind of powerful if you think about it. And it's like you kind of got off that because it was a battle royale and you couldn't do it. Then like after all this time, Alexis decides to pull out Cyber Angel Ritual. I'm like, yes, Ritual monsters are back. I'm like, yes, like this would be a great comp, like especially for what we saw in the later half. I would love if their solution to go against the fusion monsters, which definitely her one is an anti-fusion monster to the fucking extreme. I would love it if they went to ritual monsters, because like ritual monsters are the only one that hasn't got a dimension, so I would love if they focus on ritual monsters. I think that'd be a really cool thing, since like there's been a few ritual, honestly the last time I saw ritual support, and that was already the last time I played the game that much and all that, was Gishkis. I was like, I'd love if they had Gishkis. I'd love if they had ritual monsters in there, or like the Ruined King of Oblivion. I remember that card, and like the Queen as well. Like I'd love if those cards or something like came back, or like another ritual themed deck. I'm probably like, I know there's probably way more ritual supports that are probably out there, but it's like, give us that, give us a ritual on eyes, give us all that. And it's just like eyes just opening up that, and just honestly how she brought out the card, 3,000 attack points. By the way, every fusion monster on the field, boom, you lose 1,000, and every fusion monster destroyed by this effect, it can attack additionally. And I'm like, well, there you go, sweep, 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 sweep. And I was like, you know, we had the like Itwell Cyber, and then we also as well had like Cyber Prima, and I was like, that's cool. It's like I never was the biggest on Alexis's cards, to be fair. Like I like Chaz's Arm Dragons a lot more, like the Ojamas, and like I think like that, and like, why didn't Zane come back? I would have loved it. So like, I'm glad that, you know, like we're gonna have like Asta coming back, and it's like we got that, but it's like, man, I really wish like just add every cool thing from there. And it's like, we ain't gonna see Jaden though. Or like Judai from like the Japanese version. I'm like, there's so much about like this episode where I was like, I'm just loving it. Like that, I was just like seeing like the old cards and stuff like that. I was smiling, and I was seeing the old characters. I was like, it just, like, I know I'm coming off from this, I'm like saying like, oh, I just sound like I want to watch GX again, and you know what, you're probably just right. But even on its own, like Arc has done some very good merits I have to give like a bunch of thumbs up for, like, and definitely like, and not that Joel showing those pieces of shit and turning out that, yeah, this is the like a Yusha like place as well, and seeing fucking Yuya's father at the end, I was like, okay, that was strong. Like someone was saying that I remember saying like, you know, on Twitter, it's like, oh, by the way, that ending's strong. When I heard that, I thought, oh, what, they showed like the actual version of the ending now that hasn't got like the movie clips in it? I was like, oh, wow, I'm looking forward to it. No, the actual ending, so Yugi boy could boy for that shit like that, because I was like, yo, I was not ready for that. I was not. I was like, okay, that's a strong ending if anything. So like, nice fucking revelation, seeing like, you know, what he's been up to, and like I'm looking forward to see like Yuzu's got something to do then at this time, and I'm hoping at this like point like this with Yuzu, like whilst this is happening, like building up to all of this, she's in her own way, she's going to be training the students, she's going to be working her stuff out, and they're like, hey, we're going to build up resistance. I'm glad like academia isn't just full of like these neo-Nazis of like card games. I'm so glad about that. It's like that they're not all just that, and there's like other people there. And honestly, as much as it's the place like it just sounds like academia, like the big scumbags and all that, and it seems like they're being fed like a lot of lies, the fusion dimension, like, oh yeah, you know, we're doing this for justice and stuff like that, you know, we're doing all this bullshit. Like, it, honestly, like, they have the nicest dimension. Like, honestly, like, no shit. Like, they have the nicest looking one out of them all. Like every other one has got to be futuristic city, and it's like all like it feels not, like it doesn't have this urban fire to it, you know, very like tranquil at like what I was seeing like in the backgrounds. I was like, you know, this place looks nice. I wouldn't mind visiting this place, obviously without like, you know, the Nazi like neo-Nazi card game shit going into it. But overall, like, I really did like the revelation. I thought that was really strong. Like Asuka, like, or like Alexis was really good. I liked her appearance like that. Voice actress, like, fucking perfect. I loved that. And like her like cyber cards and ritual monsters, rituals being back. Just so much good stuff. And I honestly would get this an 8.5 to a 9. I loved it so much. Like, and honestly, just on an art perspective as well, it looks really good. So I'm glad, like, you know, I'm really glad about this episode. And I was like worried about like how they're gonna handle some of the stuff in there. So I'm looking forward to getting more explanations along the way. But if you love this Arc 5 episode as much as I do, then let me know in the comment section down below. I had such a blast with this episode. I was like, I really this like this is the like, you know, like going into the dimension. I'm glad that at this point we're also going to be seeing stuff of the fusion dimension as well at the same time. So I'm kind of glad we're getting a little bit side by side about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening in the future of this series. But that's all from me. So thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you Yu-Gi-Oh fans next time.